Hi there, welcome to Practical Piano. My name is Tia, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you what fermatas are, which are this symbol, and how to play them or how long to hold them. Fermatas show up on top of notes or on top of rests, like this. What you'll see most often are fermatas on top of notes, especially in the first years of piano. So let's talk about fermatas on notes first. Now, the proper definition of a fermata is to hold a note longer than the indicated value, and the extension is up to the performer's discretion. Basically what that means is however long you originally hold that note, you're going to hold it for longer. And it's up to you how long you want to hold it. So for example, let's say we have a whole note. We normally count a whole note 1, 2, 3, 4. But if it has a fermata on top of it, we might count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we could keep going. We could just keep holding it for longer. It's up to you how long you want that extra hold to be. Now, the purpose of a fermata is important to understand, because you can know how to do something technically. You can know that the rule is, okay, I gotta hold it for at least 4, but then hold it for longer. But what really helps is understanding why it's there in the first place. Why'd you have to do that? So the purpose of a fermata is to bring attention to a specific note. It's telling you, hold here, sit here for a minute. And the goal is to create tension or dramatic effect, or to give you a break before you go into something new, or if it's at the end of a song, to give you a sense of finality. So here are 2 ways that you can practice the fermata so that you can create that artistic expression. Now, the first tip is to record your music and to listen back and pay attention to that fermata note. You know you're holding your fermata just the right amount when you feel anticipation during the hold and then satisfaction on the next note. That is a great fermata. How do you know you're holding your fermata for too long? You're going to start feeling bored by the end of the note or uncomfortable. It's going to be like, ooh, this is what's going on? It's so long. Why is it here? So if it feels like that, then don't hold it for quite as long. Now, as far as how do you know if you're not holding the fermata long enough? If you don't feel anticipation when you're sitting on the note and then satisfaction on the next one, or if it's at the end of a song, if you don't feel that sense of finality and completion, then you're not holding it for long enough. The other way you'll know it's not long enough is if it just sounds the same as the rest of the song. It should stand out as being extra long compared to the other things that you're playing. Now, the second tip to help you achieve that expression is to count your fermata for a specific amount. Let's say we have this half note. Normally we would count it 1, 2, 3, 4. But you could count it specifically for a longer amount. You could count it up to 6, or up to 7, or up to 8, or you could even go longer. It's really up to you. As long as you're counting this fermata for longer than the original note, you're doing it right. There's no set amount that you have to count it. For your development as a musician, it's important that you explore and experiment and see what you like the sound of best. Now, if you need to count your fermata because you can't go by the sound or by the feel, that's okay. Quite a few people need a specific set amount that they can reach, and they need a sense of constancy and consistency. If you need to count a fermata, I'm going to assume that you need that kind of consistency, and that's okay. So as you're practicing, decide early on the specific amount that you want to count it to, and then be consistent in your practice, and always count it to that same amount. This way you decide on a length right away, and you get to stick to it for your own comfort. Now, what about when we have a fermata on top of a rest? A fermata on top of a rest is telling you, wait. Allow the silence and let the tension develop. Then place your hands for the next note and play. How long should you rest under a fermata? You should rest longer than the note specifies, and then as long as you want. If you're not sure how long you want to rest, use the same 2 tips to help you figure that out. So the first tip is to record yourself playing the song with that fermata rest, and then listen back and see how it sounds. You'll know it's just right if you feel a tension and an anticipation, and then you feel satisfaction when you move on to the following note. That is a good fermata rest. You'll know that you're resting for too long if you start to feel bored or uncomfortable. And you'll know you're not resting long enough if, 1, it doesn't sound like you're resting at all. 2, the rest sounds the same as the rest of the song. And 3, there's no anticipation or tension. Now the second option is to count your fermata for a specific amount. So let's say we have a half rest with a fermata. Normally we count a half rest 1, 2. But because it has a fermata on it, we're going to count it for longer than that. So we could go 1, 2, 3, or we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, or any amount of your choosing. Now, if you have more than one fermata in a song, you have to pay attention to how long the notes are that the fermata is on top of. If you have, say, 2 fermatas in a song, but they're both over whole notes, you can hold them for roughly the same amount. If you have a whole note at the end, you might want to hold that for extra long, because then you get more of a sense of finality. But the thing to really watch out for is when you have 2 notes of different values and they have fermatas on them. So let's say you have a fermata over a half note, but you also have a fermata over a whole note. Then be careful to hold your whole note fermata for longer than you're holding your half note fermata. Or if you want to think about it the opposite way, you're going to hold your half note fermata not as long as you're going to hold your whole note fermata. The fermata on the shorter note should be shorter than the fermata on the longer note. Now, one more way to improve your fermatas is to listen to other people play the same song that you're practicing. Different people have different preferences. Some will hold them for longer and some for shorter. And if you can find a range of people to listen to who are playing the same song, then you can listen specifically for the fermata and figure out, do I like it better when they're holding it for a longer time? Do I like it better when they're holding it for a shorter time? And then you can mimic that in your practice. Besides fermatas, there are several other ways that we highlight specific notes in music, and one of them is with accents. If you're interested in learning what an accent is and how to play it, check out the video in the iCards and the description. If you like looking up the dictionary definitions for the words and symbols used in your music, I'm going to link a couple of pocket dictionaries down in the description. I've used both of these music dictionaries in my own practice of new music and while I'm teaching to look up words and symbols that I'm not quite sure what they are. And I find these 2 dictionaries are great resources. They usually have what I'm looking for. Now, full disclosure, I make a small commission anytime you buy qualifying items through those links. If you found this video useful, please like it. If you know anyone else who also wants to know what fermatas are or who isn't sure how long to play them, please share this video with them. If you have any feedback or you want to let me know how your practice is going, leave a comment, and if you would like more, subscribe.